of the fuel subsidy on the 29th of May during President Tinubu's inaugural speech, there have been growing economic challenges, a development that has caused hardship for many Nigerians. The ugly side of the masses sailing under excruciating economic conditions and the rate at which poverty has eaten deep into the country is not only frightening, but heartbreaking. This devastating national situation has left over 70 million unemployed and has thus forced them to venture into the battle for survival, leading up to looting government reserves recently.
All right. And this morning, we're looking at the economic situation here in Nigeria. And joining us very quickly is a strategist, a policy analyst, and the group CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. He's here to talk deeply on the current economic situation. We're talking about Baba Yusuf, who joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's go straight to the the nitty-gritty of what Nigerians are indeed going through. First off, as an economist, it would be good to hear your thoughts on the looting that took place from the weekend, even until yesterday at Daidai. We also saw another one. What are economists saying about the trend that's starting to evolve?
Thank you very much. Actually, Joe, this is a trend that started not just last week. We recall last quarter of last year, there were some of these looting activities that took place around, if I'm not mistaken, Adamawa State. So we've had pockets of these lootings that have been going on. And I think the set piece, emerged, this gory emergence of this trend started during COVID, where politicians, in a very wicked manner, hoarded food essential commodities that were supposed to be shared to people. Now, fast forward to what we have today, which is another emerging trend, that is taking a new dimension. It's a reflection of, first of all, of a decay of our value system. I want to take it from that perspective, first of all. Granted, we have very serious situation of hunger, strife, and poverty, but then it's also a reflection of what is going on in the society. I recall build-up or just the aftermath of the Kano State gubernatorial elections, where people went and looted the shops and warehouses of innocent citizens, some perceived to be political opponents, etc. Now, the danger of this trend is that it is, on one hand, a reflective of the failure of leadership, clearly so, to the extent that people have become so desperate. According to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, survival is the first instinct of any human being, or indeed any animal. It is only when you are secure in terms of survival that reasoning and logic will prevail. That being said, it is going beyond government warehouses. The truck carrying essential commodities belonging to Boa, was also looted in Zaria a couple of days ago, before the incident that happened on the outskirts of Abuja. Also, we had information yesterday or day before yesterday on somewhere on the highway of Abuja, I think around Day. That what is happening is that people have lost it for the right and for the wrong reason. And that is why it is more worrisome. Because on one hand, you have people that are desperately hungry and have resorted to, desperate means. On the other hand, you have people that are seizing the moment and opportunity to steal and to loot innocent citizens' properties. I said it yesterday somewhere else that we have to also speak to our fellow citizens. When you loot the warehouse or the shop of innocent, well-meaning Nigerians, some of them actually took loans to secure, their businesses, and you come and loot those shops and warehouses, I bet those people are also victims of the same failure of leadership. That is antithetical, that is immoral, and that is very wrong. Right. I use this opportunity to call on citizens to speak to their conscience while this is going on. But then we take it back to the people that swore to a mandate to protect the citizens of this country and provide effective leadership. I don't know if this makes sense to them anymore because I don't see that reflected in their actions
Mr.
and
Yusuf,
mannerism to say
Mr.
really
Yusuf,
feel
would
the
you
pain.
say that? Mr. Yusuf, would you
The
say
very
that?
public must be taken seriously
right.
by all at federal and subnational level.
Mr. Yusuf, would you say that this current administration does, know what it's doing and has the required capacity to take us out of this fix that we're in? Or does it look like it's a bit of trial and error that's happening?
Well, to me, that is like only sounds like a political question. I maintain objectivity in my conversations, and that is how it's going to be. I wouldn't want to start appraising a government and say they don't have the capacity, but I would say, are they performing, up to expectations or below expectations? And the answer is, it leaves most to be desired. And when I'm having these conversations, I reiterate the fact that we should not only speak about the government at the federal level, because by default, most of our conversations is about federal level. There's a lot of rot and failure on the performance and understanding the citizens as also at the subnational, which is also reflective of not just the APC, also the PDP and whatnot. So we should speak to, to the issues with regards to leadership in this country. The political parties are coming short, without pointing finger at a particular party. But that being said, there is still much to be done at the federal level. Promises were made mid-year last year when Mr. President declared, a state of emergency on food insecurity. Last quarter of last year, promises were made during negotiations with the labor unions. We have clear action points and proposed pathways out of this issue in terms of interventions. I've been following up with those action points. A lot of them have not been ticked off. I heard the Honorable Minister of State for Labor last week, trying to defend the action points and saying that the CNG buses will soon be here. Let me use this opportunity to advise government that the way things are now, which is a reflection partly of a global economic malaise, but of course, we are suffering from what I call also some self-inflicted injuries, legacy issues of the past 8-9 years. Government should move from managing, optics to managing expectations. Coming to defend and tell us only after the fact that CNG buses are on the way, I think leaves much to be desired. We expect, because of the seriousness of the issues, government to continuously and consistently, inform Nigerians with regards to the state of affairs of the promises they made at this critical moment. I give you an example. Every week, we expect from the presidency a week in, week out update on action plans that have been presented to Nigerians to say, this is the status of this is the status of that. Not wait until maybe the labor union wants to down tools, or there are some serious issues that will impact on the image of the government, then you come with what I call a reactive feedback. So the handlers of Mr. President or the governors should be more proactive and so show more sensitivities to the situation, by, demonstrating their readiness to deliver the mandate they are given. Otherwise, there is no other way to see this than to say government is failing.
That's a deep one there. Weekly updates, letting Nigerians know where they're going to. But let's look at the Naira. It would be a disservice if we didn't talk about the Naira. Let's talk about the Naira and the dollar, the exchange rate. We've seen it go back and forth, here and there. Its impact on businesses, its impact on importation, its impact on the average Nigerian, gas cooker, the food prices, and so on and so forth. What do you think? Do you think that the CBN's policies will indeed take shape as we proceed in weeks to come that will help stabilize the Naira? And one more question. Do you think Nigerians also have a hand in the inflation that we're seeing today?
Thank you very much, Joe, for those two prompt questions. First of all, I have written in my columns variously and I've spoken in various fora. Spoke to the governor of CBN, Dr. Cardoso, an excellent, banker of repute, albeit now it is another test, in this kind of serious economic situation. But I think we are overflogging the issue, with regards to CBN's, ability to maintain or to restore the value of the naira and contain the escalating power of the US dollar. Let me remind, I would like to sound like a broken record because it is very important. Economists, strategists, policy, formulators should remember, I'm just reminding them humbly that unless there's an alignment between fiscal policy, monetary policy, with fiscal discipline, all these optics will not become reality. When you try to manage your monetary policy with optics, with raising interest rates and all that, it will only make matters worse. In fairness, in the last couple of days, we've seen some kind of staggering, I call it staggering stability of the naira. But I'm not very optimistic. We are getting to the summertime. Globally, during summer, the US dollar gains some kind of strength because of the activities around the media. And towards the end of year as well, we expect the dollar to strengthen. So the measures we have now are what I call the short-term cosmetic interventions. The fundamental issue is that there is no alignment between monetary policy, fiscal policy, and fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline speaks to budget performance. Fiscal discipline speaks to prudence. Fiscal discipline speaks to controls, in government. Fiscal discipline talks about cost of governance, containing it and maintaining it. If you have a basket and you continue pouring water in that basket, Joe and Olive, you cannot retain value of that water. And that is what is part of the critical issues. How can you have an economy, for example? The custom duties have been raised 5 times by this government in the last 2 months. 5 times. Because we all know that custom duty is benchmarked against the dollar. Now, for the past 2 months, based on the ratings coming out of the CBN and Ministry of Finance, custom duty has been reviewed 5 times. Of course, it has not been, they have not come out to tell us they are increasing it, and on. We only heard the increase once. But if you go and look at the back office with regards to the ratings and the benchmarking, if you increase custom duty 5 times, either inadvertently or deliberately, you can expect the impact it has on the ripple effect it has on the economy, on inflation. If you don't deal with the factors that drive inflation, Joe and Olive, you cannot tackle and contain the value of your local currency. What are those factors? Production. Like I said, cost efficiencies in governance. Okay, fight against corruption. If you don't deal with these issues, you can never, ever restore the value of your naira.
Right.
Okay? Now, citizens, I said it in my opening remarks, we should also lose the sight of the fact that we are facing, what we are facing in government and governance is a reflection of the erosion of the value system of Nigeria. The lady selling gari in the market, the gentleman selling palm oil somewhere, everybody wants to take advantage of the situation against his or our own brother and sister.
All right.
While we point the finger at the political leaders. Leaders are a reflection of a society, ladies and gentlemen. And while we ask government to take responsibility and do what is right, individually and collectively as citizens, we should also do what is right.
Mr.
We should
Baba
be our
Yusuf,
brother's keeper.
thank you very much for highlighting this. Thank you very much for highlighting the role that we as individuals have to play and the role that the government has to play in ensuring that we have the economy that we deserve as a people. Thank you very much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.